So my association with him goes back a long way. I would call him up after every release of film and tell him honestly what I thought of the film. I won't tell you the films, but at one point in time I called him up and said, Aamir, this film for me is your worst film ever, but it's going to be a huge hit. I hated the film, but it's going to be a big hit. And I'd call him up and tell him, this is a brilliant film and I love it. So I'd just call him up and tell him, and I'd track him down wherever he was. Any part of the country, anywhere he was, I'd track him down and I'd call him and tell him what I thought of his films, honestly. And he'd listen to me, honestly. So which was very nice. And there's one thing I'd like to add here is that at that time when I started off interviewing him, there was only one private channel in the country. There was only ZTV. And a lot of actors, a lot of films. And I used to do most of the film shows on the channel. So most of the people in the film industry knew me, and I used to even host a popular reviews show. And a lot of stars came on the show. They got interviewed by me, and films would be promoted, not directly, but because of their interviews and all, they'd be promoted. Aamir was the only star who called me up because he called me up for Hame Rahi Pyar Ke. He said, "Can you do some interviews with me and Juhi?" And we did all the interviews and everything. And the film became a big hit. Then he called me up after that and said, "I have to thank you for all the support that you gave me during the film." I said, "What did I do? I just interviewed you here." He said, "No, it was really very helpful. And, in this time of action films, my romantic film worked and everything." And he said, "I want to come on camera and give an interview to you and to the audience, thanking them for making Hame Rahi Pyar Ke a hit." Otherwise, most of the stars, which you all must have noticed also, are only accessible when the films are being released. Once the film is released, stars are gone. You don't hear of the stars again. But Aamir was not like that. He actually called up. He came he set the interview date, came for the interview, did the interview, and thanked the audience and everyone else to make the film a hit.
How do you think of casting Aamir for Fana?
From the time I interviewed him, I wanted to make a film with him. Those were the days when I was struggling to be a filmmaker and couldn't be a filmmaker. So the closest I could be to the film industry was by talking about films. So I used to have this review-based show, as I told you, where I used to talk about films. So from that time onwards, I've been wanting to make films and make films with Aamir.